Welcome back to the Peace of Living podcast. We are your hosts, Jason
and Allison.
And it's great to be back with you together again tonight. And we first want to just say thank you so much for listening. Thanks for listening to our Mount Everest-sized episode from last week. Hopefully you didn't throw up too many times.
We made ourselves sick. Just kidding.
It was a little sugary, wasn't it?
But that's honestly, it's pretty accurate for how we are.
Nah, it's true.
We're nauseating.
It's a little nauseating.
Let's own it.
Yeah. You would not want to come hang out with us.
No,
so probably 1 hour a week is all you need with us. But I love it. I love hanging out with you. So
yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much. And we know a lot of you commented and shared and shared in our celebration of 10 years of marriage. And that was pretty fun. It was really
and
cool.
we're still married.
And we're still married.
A week
Woo!
after.
10 more years. Let's do it.
Just
so
10?
Just 10.
Let's shoot for that. Then we'll talk.
Let's just see how it is. No. Yeah, right. No way. Oh, man. So tonight we just wanted to speak pretty much just kind of from the heart. I do have some notes. I have some quotes that I'd like to share, but but mostly I just want to kind of speak from our own experience. You're laughing at me. Why are you laughing at me?
No, I'm smiling because Jason is notorious for his lack of passion and feeling on scripture subjects. And so knowing what's coming, I'm just smiling because I know how much you've thought about this.
I have thought about it a lot. And this subject tonight is something that is truly precious to my heart, right? And I hold it so close because I love it so much. And this is all stemming from, it's been kind of building, honestly. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, but it's kind of, for me, come to a head this week. And so let me give you some context. So one of the things that I like to do at least in my seminary classes, is I like to give the kids the opportunity to ask anonymous questions. And the way I've done it for a while, there's probably better ways to do it, but I'll just hand out, little 3x5 note cards where they can write down anonymous questions, if they wonder about anything with church history or church policy, church doctrine, whatever. They can ask it without feeling embarrassed, and we can do our best to discuss it as a class and try to go to good sources within, the gospel library to find some answer or direction if there is some. And it's a really fun exercise. We do it not every day, but a lot of the days we'll look at it and be like, okay, let's see what prophets have said. What do you guys think? How do we go about this in finding some spiritual knowledge regarding whatever topic it is? It's been really cool. So one of the recurring questions that I feel like is being asked by the kids more and more frequently over the years, and it's especially this year, a lot of the cards I've received this year, a lot of the kids will write multiple questions on one card, but on several cards in each class, there's been questions regarding missions. And kids asking who should go on a mission, why should I go on a mission, how do I know if I'm ready to go on a mission, stuff like that. And so as we've discussed these questions in class, it's been very interesting and pretty eye-opening to hear some of their thoughts as it pertains to going on missions. And honestly, it's been a little surprising and slightly disheartening, but the comments do fall in line with some of the recent, not even recent, but if you look at the statistics of missionaries that are going out over the last several years, even within the stakes here in Davis County, for example. I don't know the numbers exactly, but I do know that the numbers steadily are declining. And even with active youth, I do know that it's less than half of active, at least young men, are serving missions. And that really surprises me. But then the comments in our classes have kind of backed up those numbers, because the attitudes reflected would be in line with those findings. It's all been very interesting, and I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop talking about it. Allie's like, she's heard me talk about this like all week. So I just kind of want to speak freely and from the heart, because, and I think Allie's going to speak for herself, but I'm going to speak for myself here. Well, first I want to preface this. My mission was challenging. It was difficult. And, and I don't want to be like, oh, back in the day when we couldn't call home and stuff like that. But that was kind of hard. And, talking to my family twice a year, just writing letters and emails. But beyond that, it was extremely difficult being in the area I was, which was mostly in the Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia region, right there, mostly in Maryland, because I was in the Baltimore, Maryland mission. But it was extremely challenging, and not at all, it didn't go at all the way that I thought that it would, right? And I think I only baptized and I worked hard. I wasn't a perfect missionary, but I did work as hard as I could. And, I only baptized like a couple people, like the whole time. And I know a lot of people would, look at that and be like, wow, what a total failure. What a total waste of time. Right. Which we'll come back to in a minute. Like what makes a successful missionary, but it was challenging. Like a lot of the mission was just like knocking on doors and talking to complete strangers on their doorstep and at bus stops and in like restaurants and anywhere and everywhere about the gospel of Jesus Christ. And it was extremely uncomfortable. And it was very difficult when you're out there in like intense heat and humidity, and people are mean, people think you're weird. But that's what we did. And I'll admit, I know this is kind of meandering and aimless, so please just kind of cut me off, but I'm just kind of talking for a second. But, I'll admit, for the first while of my mission, I always wanted to be a good missionary, and I always did have the desire to serve. But I remember there was a point probably about, and I'm embarrassed to say it took me this long, but it was probably just after about a year out on my mission, where I actually remember writing home to my mom or my family and just saying something to the effect of like, look, we're not teaching anybody. We're not baptizing anybody. But if Heavenly Father if Heavenly Father and Jesus just want me to knock on doors all day long, and that's the whole purpose of my mission, then I'm going to do it. If that's what they want me to do, I'll just knock all day long and I'll just talk to people, even if it appears to be a pretty fruitless exercise. And I did. And I was changed. Maybe we'll have to put this picture in the show notes. I don't even know if we can do that, but there's a picture that I still remember my very last Sunday on my mission. We were at a member's house, and, this isn't like, oh, look at Elder Bell. Look how great he was as a missionary. But, typically when missionaries come to the end of their mission, it's kind of like a party. Like they can't wait to get home, whatever, like get back to real life. I was sad that I didn't want to come home. And there's a picture that somebody, I don't even know who it was, someone snapped it of me. But I'm there, we're at dinner with like 3 other companionships, and we're all sitting on this couch, and everybody's laughing and having a good time. And I have my planner in my hand, and it's like resting on my knees, and my head is just it's resting in my palm, like I'm like kind of bent over, and I just have like this forlorn look. And I remember while they were making dinner, and again, I loved all the missionaries I served with, and they were having fun or whatever, but I turned to my companion and I was like, I have to go. I have to go talk to people. And, we went back for dinner, but while they were making it for like 15 minutes, that's all we had. And, it was one of my last times knocking doors. And I had to go talk to whoever I could, because my heart had been changed. And I knew how much the restored gospel of Jesus Christ meant to me, but also like what it could mean to others. And I just knocked feverishly. I think we gave out 2 or 3 Book of Mormons in that 15 minutes. And those people on those doorsteps probably thought I was like some crazy person, because it was like there was such urgency and such earnestness in what I was saying. Like, hopefully they felt something on those doorsteps. But I don't even know why I'm sharing this story, but I guess what I'm trying to say is the attitude that we don't need to go on missions is wrong. And I'm just going to say it, it's from Satan. And I didn't, I didn't baptize a lot of people. And some might, like I said, might think that's a failure, and I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but if you go out and do a mission right, meaning you do it 100%, none of this like halfway in, like I'm just going to call my girlfriend every 2 seconds or just post funny pictures on Facebook. No, I'm saying you do it all in. The mission, it is for the people. Go establish his gospel, establish his word among the people. Like the Lord said to Ammon and the sons of Mosiah in Alma chapter 17. But the greatest convert, the greatest change from a mission, again, if you do it right, is you. And that is an experience that you can't get anywhere else. And I had a kid, bless his heart, good guy. But just this week, he's like, I was like, I was like, what do you guys think? Do we need to go on missions? Like, who should go on a mission? And one kid, great guy, was like, I don't think we really do. We can have the same experience, at college or at a job, and we can share the gospel that way, which is definitely true. You can absolutely share the gospel, and we should be sharing the gospel, right? Especially from our own example and how we live. We should have the gospel written on our hearts. But the experience of a mission, like, you can't and won't get anywhere else or in any other way. It is a singularly unique experience. And what I would hope the young people will realize is they look at this with some perspective. And because this is an opportunity, an experience that once the time has passed, it's never coming again. Should you choose not to go and forego that experience, and even, I would say, that responsibility that you have by covenant, it's not coming back. Like, it's not something you can just do or get later. Yes, you can serve a service mission, or not a service, but a senior couple mission. And it's incredible. And I think way more senior couples should go because of so many reasons, which maybe we'll talk about in a minute. But don't discount going on a mission just because right now you think, oh, I don't really know. I'm not really interested, or I don't think I've got the strongest of testimonies, or it's not really for me. Like, it is for you. It is for you. President Nelson has said, and he said this in the April 2022 conference, the very, very first address. And he said, the gospel of Jesus Christ has never been more needed than it is today. And we, as members of his church, have the obligation, the responsibility to take that to the world, because we have the authority to offer redeeming, saving ordinances where people can enter into covenants with the Lord and be bound to him. We have to go give those things to them, or at least offer it. If we don't, who will? And so, President Nelson's saying it's needed more than ever today, than it ever has been. And then he goes on today to say, today I reaffirm strongly the Lord's call that every worthy, able young man prepare for and serve a mission. And that means to start preparing now. It doesn't mean to start preparing, a month before. Now we'll go talk to the bishop, or 6 months before. Like, the time to prepare to be a missionary is now. And that means so many things. That means taking, like, for real, taking upon yourself his name this Sunday. You're going to get a name tag when you're a missionary that says your name and his, meaning I represent and stand here for Jesus Christ. But we all did that same thing on Sunday. You don't have a plastic name tag over your heart, but you should have his name over your heart regardless. And that should impact how we think and how we act and how we speak. And again, talking about Paul in the Corinthians letter from this week in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, he talks about, look, the law shouldn't be written in stone. It shouldn't even be written with ink. It's great, but it should be written upon our hearts. And Elder Holland said that people don't join the church because of what they know. People join the church because of what they feel and what they see and what they spiritually desire. And I think when he says people join the church because of what they see, I think that they see something different in you, in us, that's different from the rest of the world. And I think that's part of preparing. We prepare by being different in a good way, a happy way, and being okay and confident in that, which is hard because I know in high school, especially, the thing we want more than anything else is just to fit in. We want to blend in. We don't want to stand out. We don't want anybody to think that we're weird, right? We want people to think that we're cool. And sometimes what's popular isn't what's right. And President Nelson foresaw that in saying in the coming days, it will rarely be popular or easy to be a Latter-day Saint, which goes in line with Jesus's experience. It was not very popular. He was popular for a time until the people realized that he's not going to do what they thought he would do. And then he became very unpopular in a lot of people's eyes. And so it will be with us. And then to every young woman, President Nelson says, the expectation for you isn't so much the same as the young men. Like, young men, if you're praying about whether you should go on a mission, I think the Lord's probably going to tell you, why are you asking me? I already told you through a prophet. You already know what the answer is. Your responsibility now is stop asking me if I'm supposed to go and get ready to go. Whether that's a service mission or a full-time proselyting mission or whatever, there's a mission for everybody now. But I think the answer is like, why are you asking? Yes, you're going. It's part of the reason why you were born. And for young women, the expectation is that you pray about it. We need way more kids out there because you kids are good. And we just need you out there.
I just wanted to interject because I can just I know that there will be people, maybe particularly the young men who are listening to this, if there are young men listening to this, who are going to naturally push back on that when you say, like, you should go on a mission, because nobody wants to be told what to do.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't want to come off as us saying this is what you have to do with your life because, well, it's not coming from us, first of all. But I guess I want to emphasize that while this is very strongly urged for you to go on a mission, and it's a very good thing, you still have your agency. Yes, nobody can make that decision but you. Don't worry. Like, you have to make that decision. But I guess I want to take the advocate side for using your agency to choose to go on a mission.
Yeah.
So I want you to think of it that way. Not so much like someone's telling you to go on a mission. I have to go because I'm being made to do this. I want you to get to a mental spot where you're saying, I am going because I am choosing to go. I want to go. And I think that's the ideal, is that we should try to get to that point. That is the ideal for sure.
That is the ideal.
And hopefully, hopefully you will get to a point. I mean, if you're doing your part to bring yourself closer to Jesus Christ, to strengthen your testimony in him, I feel like that's a natural byproduct, is that you want to share his light with other people. And that's ultimately what kind of ignites that flame for the desire to serve. And that's what the scriptures say is in the Doctrine and Covenants. Like if ye have desires to serve, you're called to the work. And that's crucial. That is so important. Please, by all means, like, don't go out on a mission out of spite.
No.
Don't do that. You don't want to make life miserable for your companion or the people you serve with and all of that. Like, please don't do that. Please get to a point where you are choosing this. I think that's what we're trying to say, is that the power is still very much in your hands. We just want to help frame this in a way of like, why would you want to go on a mission? And even better said, like, because sometimes we're so worried about what we want that we forget to ask what he wants. That is so contrary to what we as humans are used to doing, is giving up our will to someone else.
Exactly.
And yet we really should get into a good habit of turning to the Lord and asking, what's thy will? Why do you want me to go on a mission, Lord? And so I was trying to like make a list of all the reasons, like why would the Lord want you to serve a mission? And think about it. So you've mentioned some of these already, Jason, but like you get a chance to bring more of his children closer to him, which again, Doctrine and Covenants, section 18, like, you will have so much joy because of the worth of each individual soul. If you bring even just one person to God, like, imagine the joy that's going to come from that. And so that should be reason enough right there. We could stop right there, but there's even more. This is what I love about God, is that he has such a way of magnifying the blessings from one thing. So we get a chance to bring more of his children closer to him. You get a chance to deepen your own testimony and conversion, which is invaluable.
Yeah.
And you get to learn life skills and lessons that you wouldn't know otherwise. I can say straight up right now, I know that the mission prepared me for marriage. I know it did.
Oh, yeah. If nothing, like, this is not the why you should go on a mission at all. Like, but if nothing else, a mission's probably the best prep for marriage and for life that you can get, period. Like, end of story. You want to get ready for the rest of your life? Go on a mission.
You will learn so much. I remember I had a friend who, before I went on a mission, he told me, because I had graduated from college before I left, because back in my day, girls had to be, I was like on the end of having to be 21. And then it was the year I got home from my mission is that they changed that rule. So the girls could be 19.
Yeah.
And, but anyway, so I had my degree already. And I remember I had a friend who was like, you think that your learning is done already because you've got this degree? He's like, your learning has just started. There's a whole new education for you.
That's good.
And he was right.
Yeah,
he was absolutely right. And then, of course, I would even possibly rank this as number one personally, the people and the friends. Your life is so enriched by the people that you will meet on your mission that you wouldn't have had a chance to meet otherwise. I'm starting to feel all the feelings right now creeping up on me, starting from like the MTC to, my first area to my second area, my third area, all of it, like my companions that I had, the 2 mission presidents and their wives that I had while I was there.
Oh, I know.
The random people that you meet on the street too, that you never know what happens to. It is insane the amount of lives that you're able to overlap with and touch that you would never have come into contact with without going on a mission. And I've met some of my dearest friends and people that I will cherish forever.
Me too.
Because of that decision to serve. And it would not have happened if I hadn't gone. And just like you, statistically, my mission was not super successful numbers wise. Like, I had a decent amount of baptisms, I guess, but ask me the activity level of all the people that got baptized. I can tell you that a great majority of them are no longer active members of the church, which breaks my heart. But I also know that, like, that wasn't the only reason for me to go.
Yeah.
And we put so much emphasis on the baptism, which is obviously that's important. We believe in the gathering of Israel and in like sharing gospel truths and in saving ordinances and all of that, you know, like we believe in that. But like also I believe in the bigger picture too. And I think God's very patient.
Yeah.
And he doesn't expect that everything is going to work perfectly. And this is all just this foolproof plan. Like, he knows what he's doing. He knows why he's calling young people to go on missions.
Yeah.
And just speaking candidly, I mean, obviously, like, we have similar experiences, but also we have different perspectives here because, like, there was that expectation for you to go on a mission because you were a boy, a priesthood holder.
Yeah.
And I was not getting that same pressure at all. For me, it was just like, hey, there's this idea. Have you thought about it? It's a possibility. And I was terrified to go on a mission, straight up terrified, because I was the type of kid. Homesickness runs pretty rampant in my family. And I like, you know, my mom would say this or I think it might've been my Aunt Leslie. I don't remember, but like, our family would even get sick, like while we were not sick, homesick at school, like at high school during the day, where it's just like, I just want to go be home with my family. Like, that's where I want to be. And I have always been so much of a homebody my whole life. And it was the thought of like not being able to see my family for 18 months or to see my friends and to be far away from home and away from all of the comfort and familiarity that I was used to. That was really, really hard. Yeah. And to be totally honest, like, I never stopped missing my family throughout my mission. Obviously, like, it got easier, but like, there was always that pining of like, I'd hear a familiar song come on the radio or something, and it was just like, oh, like, I miss home, and I will always miss home. But I mean, I'm glad I didn't let that stop me. But like, being totally, totally honest, because I don't want to give a false, put out this false idea that like it's really hard, but it's really great, and it's the best years of your life. Like. I'm not going to mince words. My mission was the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. And the thought of like,
it's brutal.
It is. And
it wrenches you.
And yet, if I were to take that experience away from my life, I wouldn't have what I have now.
No.
And I wouldn't trade anything for what I have now. And I absolutely know that God knew where I needed to be. Amen. God knew that I needed to go on a mission. I did. and he knew why. He knew what trajectory I needed to be on for my life. And he knew it was going to be hard. He knew I'd have to sacrifice a lot. He knew that I would suffer to some degree. Yeah. You know, it was going to be challenging. It was going to be soul stretching. And honestly, like, I would never be the same. I'd come home from my mission a completely changed person, completely humbled, because I just learned so much about like him and how he works. And I just felt like, wow, all this time I thought a mission was about me. And like, I'd come home and sound like this awesome missionary, and I'd have all these cool stories to tell people. And it was so internal for me. And I've never been able to adequately verbalize my entire feelings and my experience about my mission, because it still is like something that I feel like I'm still processing, because I can't even believe that it happened. I look back on that and I'm like, wow, I did that in my early 20s. Yeah. That's awesome. I'm so proud of myself for doing that, because that was a hard thing. Yeah. You know? Yeah. And yet, like, you nailed it. Like, there's nothing like it. You will never have an opportunity like
No,
this. What a gift, honestly, to be able to put your life and your personal interests on hold
completely on hold.
for 18 to 24 months or whatever the service is time for your mission, and just to serve the Lord.
Yeah.
And do you have any idea how much he's going to compensate you for that?
Oh, it's crazy.
It blows my mind.
Oh, I still just to have this conversation is just so enriching that even all these years later, I just feel so deeply blessed, and we have been like every day
Mm-hmm.
in so many ways. He is still paying us back for just for that sacrifice.
Yeah.
And it's staggering.
It continues
it's
to
supremely humbling.
It continues to pay dividends even now. Like, I left on my mission 13 and a half years ago. I got home 12 years ago last month.
Yeah.
12, I've been home for 12 years.
Yeah.
Which is bonkers to me.
Yeah.
And yet, like, it's still so like fresh on my mind because it was this pivotal moment of my life. And I'll be honest, like, I still sometimes have dreams where I'm back on my mission.
Yeah.
And I'll wake up like in a cold sweat because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be there. Like, because I've moved on. I'm in a different phase of life. Like, I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. I'm married to you, which is great. It's pretty okay. And then, and I've got our 2 kids, like in a new phase. This reminded me, sorry, side note, like on my mission, because, there's this whole stigma about sister missionaries, how it's like, well, if you can't get married, you go on a mission, blah, blah, blah. I feel like that's changed in recent years,
Yeah,
but
I think so.
back when you had to be 21 to go on a mission, it was like, oh, couldn't get married, huh? Okay. So like, I remember being at one of our members' houses. She had 2 daughters who were like our age on the mission. They were young 20s, maybe like late teens. We were asking her, like, Hermana, like, do your daughters want to serve missions too? And she just smiled at us and she goes, they want to get married. Neither one of them was dating anyone. They did not have like she's just was speaking generally. She's like, oh, they want to get married someday. And my companion and I laughed out loud and we looked at her and we're like, Hermana, we want to get married too. Like, that's kind of like, this is temporary.
Yeah.
Then again, please keep that in mind when you're considering a mission. It goes by fast.
It's so fast.
It is temporary.
Yeah.
You're only asked to give 18 to 24 months of time. And guess what? That time's going to pass no matter what, whether you go on a mission or not.
Yeah.
So you might as well pack it with something amazing that will change you forever.
That's great counsel.
Yeah. And so, like, I guess my point is, and I'm speaking specifically to the sisters out there, the girls who are listening to this, wondering if a mission might be for them. And they're worried that if they go on a mission, they're going to miss an opportunity to get married, or maybe such and such a guy won't be around when they get back. And yeah, there's always that risk. But again, if I could like grab every girl by the shoulders and shake her and just say, trust God.
Yeah.
Trust him.
You got to trust him.
He is not going to give you the short end of the stick. He will not. Like, he can't. He cannot. It always makes me think of that scripture, Matthew 7, verses 9 through 11. It's some of my favorite scripture verses. Or what man is there of you whom if his son ask bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he ask a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? God does not give stones and serpents. God gives bread
Always.
And fish and good things. And even if it feels like, there were moments on my mission, and I'm sorry, I know I'm talking a lot.
Go ahead.
I'm just like coming alive here. There were moments on my mission where I did kind of feel like, oh, what have I done? Like, did I completely just misread the signs here? Was I not supposed to go on a mission? Because it seems like things aren't going well here. And like, I don't know. I felt like maybe I'd missed some opportunities at home, and I was worried. I was worried that like things weren't going to work out well for me, and maybe I'd made a mistake, and sometimes questioned my decision to go on a mission while I was on a mission. And yet like there was always like this voice in my head that was just like, nope, you are where you need to be, and you just need to trust me and be patient, endure,
Yeah.
if you can endure this well, just wait for what's on the other side. And I can tell you right now, if I had had even a glimpse of what life was going to be like today, September 2023, if I could have seen that 13 years ago when I was in like the throes of my mission, I'd have been like, done, deal. I'll do whatever it takes. This is no big deal. This is no problem. I can handle this. I will happily do this. And I've thought about that so much. Like, if my 34-year-old self could go talk to my 21-year-old self, I would just be like, you got this, kid. Like, I know it seems really hard, but I owe you a big fat thank you for doing this, because everything that I have right now, everything that we have right now is because of this decision that you made right now.
Yeah. The mission experience and just learning to give your heart to Jesus and ask, like Ali said, truly ask him what his will is probably one of like the best, if not in my mind, the best investment you can make in your future. It's an incredible investment. And like, he does like things like for Ali, like she just mentioned, like things work out. He notices everybody, but I think he probably especially notices those who sacrifice for him. And he pays very, very well. And I saw some quote the other day that was like, I may not be a wealthy man, but I am very rich. And I feel the same way. I wouldn't say I'm a wealthy guy or we're a wealthy family, but like, I feel like our life is rich, and
we're wanting for nothing.
Like, just, it's so rich, and all because I feel like he's just blessed us in so many different ways. Even just like you said, the people and the relationships that we've been able to forge over the years on our missions and since. Like, I feel such like a rich man. Like, I think back on those people that I knew really well, even random people. I still remember. It's crazy. Like, I feel kind of bad. Like, but if I'm being honest, like, I feel like there's huge chunks of our children's lives that are like such a blur in my memory. It's just a blur. It all kind of blends together. But I remember very distinctly, not quite day by day on my mission, but I remember so much of it very clearly. I remember random people I met on the street that I never talked to again. Mm-hmm. And it's all very present in my mind. And those relationships, I mean, holy cow, like our sealing was the happiest day of my life, because we're there together getting sealed, like there's nothing better, but also to look out in that sealing room and to have an outside on the temple grounds, to have everybody that we've loved, which included in that sealing room, several people from our missions, and even people, there was a family, bless their heart, that like sold their van and piled people up in their old Chrysler, their other minivan, and drove cross country to come to our sealing. Like that is That's stuff. Incredible. That is just stuff that you cannot, like, you're just not going to get that experience. I'm sorry. You're just not going to get that experience in college or just at a job. That comes from just binding your hearts together in the service of God. And it's an amazing thing. Oh, I'm just so enriched. Like you said, you take away my mission and you take away me. Like it would kill me. Like, that's who I am. That's what's made me who I am, was like so much that experience. There was like me before the mission and there's me after. There's a lot of carryover, but there's some very distinct differences, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like, and it was very difficult. And I did want to say too, like back when I was saying like, hey guys, like the decision's kind of been made for you. I don't want to like say that to scare you, but what I was trying to get at is that, like Allie just mentioned, maybe you're like, I don't really know. I don't know if it's for me. I'm not, I don't want to talk, I'm scared to talk to people. I don't know the scriptures. It sounds hard. It sounds uncomfortable. What I was trying to get at is to say, like Allie said, just trust the Lord. If the Lord is calling you and expecting you to go, then just trust him. Even if you feel like you're not ready and you're like, I don't know, I'm scared, I'm uncomfortable, I don't know how to do this. Just trust him, because there's something about just like taking that leap of faith, that step forward into the unknown, right? Like the Frozen song, but like taking that leap of faith or that step forward, it's kind of in those moments that after that leap of faith or that step forward, that the water parts or the light comes. But sometimes you just need to just trust that, like, okay, holy cow, if the prophet's saying this and he's saying that Jesus said it, maybe I should just do it and just go for it. Maybe I'm not totally in. Maybe I'm not really even sure I want to go, but I'm just trusting here. And holy crap, you put your trust in him. He is going to change your life. He is going to change your life. And then that's kind of, I always had the desire to go in a sense, but it also was like just an expectation. Like, I'm just going to go on my mission. There was no other, it wasn't like I didn't have a choice. It was just like, I'm just going. That's kind of like what was in my plan. Right. But what I was trying to get at is it wasn't until later that it was like, no, this has become me. And I couldn't say that at the beginning. I enjoyed it. I thought it was an amazing thing, but it was like, it took some time until it was like, my mission is me. This is who I am. I'm living this. I'm breathing this. I'm walking this. I'm talking this. And that took some time. And so what I guess I'm getting at is like, yeah, it is expected of the Lord, but that's okay. Trust him. You can trust him because he's going to have your back. And he is. You give him your heart, he's going to do some amazing things with it. Like the kid with the fish and bread. I mean, we've talked about that before on this podcast, but you give your 5 junky barley loaves of bread to him, your junky heart, and like, here, Lord, I'm scared. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how to do this, but here's my heart. I'm going to do the best I can. Oh boy, if he can feed 5,000 people till they're filled and have leftovers with just 5 barley loaves, cheap barley loaves of bread, just wait until you see what he can do with your heart. But give him your heart. Don't do it out of spite. Be like, okay, Lord, I'm putting this in your hand. I'm scared to death. Help me.
I couldn't agree more. I think that there's really something to be said for if you're faced with a choice of, oh my goodness, am I quoting Dumbledore right now? Is this what's happening?
Do it.
Oh
Yeah,
my!
do it.
Just started falling out of my mouth. What does he say? Like, there comes a time when we have to choose between what is right and what is easy. Is that the quote?
I think that's the quote. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Someone can double check that for me. But you have basically 2 choices. You can always choose the path of least resistance, the easier path, the one that's not going to require a lot of you, the one that's predictable and aligns well with what you want for yourself. Or you can take that leap.
Yeah.
And you can, like Jason said, dive into that unknown and be courageous. Live your life with courage. Do
it's so
something.
exciting.
Yeah, it is.
It's so scary.
Do
so
something
exciting.
that is wildly outside of your comfort zone. Because if you're doing it for the sake of the Lord and in his name, I can guarantee that good things are going to come from that. I can't guarantee that it's going to be all sunshine and roses. In fact, I can pretty much promise you it's not.
It's probably going to be harder.
That's the cool thing about a mission is it's like a microcosm of life itself.
It is.
Because it's like in the pre-Earth life, we all kind of had this idea of what we were coming down, what we were agreeing to. And we knew that we were going to be subjecting ourselves to pain and to death and to sorrow and all these things. And we still jumped for joy and we're like, yeah, let's do it. Even though, like, yeah, when we're here, we're crying and it's difficult and we get hurt and sometimes it just feels it's hard to bear, but we're still grateful. Look at this. Look at what it's making of us.
Yeah.
The mission is just like that, but on a microcosmic scale where you jump in and you have like this entirely new life. And you can just throw it all to the Lord and dedicate it 100% for 18 to 24 months, or again, whatever your time frame is, and just watch what he does with it. I feel like I can't say enough about it.
I can't either. And I feel like, I don't know, I was expecting to get more fired up about this, but as I sit here and reflect and talk about it, like, I feel just nothing but like reverence.
And gratitude.
It's like my mission was like truly sacred to me.
Yeah.
And like, I feel so grateful for the experience and for the Lord calling me to go. And, I guess if anybody's just on the fence about going, I would just say, like we've said, just trust him and go. Take that leap of faith. And, I mean, I think even if it's not really in your plans, and I guess I'm especially talking to the young women here, clearly you've heard Allie, but I will also say, like, some of the very best missionaries in my mission were the sisters that were there for like the right reasons. They were amazing. They were so good and could talk to people that elders could struggle to talk to. They could just get right in their door, and they did amazing, amazing work. And I would say, if you're a sister wondering if you should go, I'm just going to say you're going to go. Like, just go. Like Allie said, the time's going to pass anyway. 18 months is not long in the scheme of things, and you can spend it at home doing whatever, or you can go and have the experience of a lifetime that's never going to come again. That will probably pay dividends greater than any other investment you can make during those 18 months. So why not just give it a shot? Get your whole heart into it. No, nothing held back. Anyway, yeah, if you're a sister, like, you should just consider going. He's going to take care of you. No matter what, he's just going to have your back there, and he's going to bless you for it. But we could talk forever. I honestly could. I could talk forever about my mission. And I just want to say one more thing too. Like, some people, like Allie mentioned, the mission's the best 2 years of your life, whatever. It is a wonderful experience, but I have to say this. It just keeps getting better. Like Allie said, it's not necessarily, life is with Jesus, and walking the path that he walked is not an easy one, but life just keeps getting better. But the mission is such an amazing preparation for the rest of it. Oh, and I think that's what I was going to say too. Sisters, if it's not even on your radar, remember, for Joseph Smith too, it had never even occurred to him after the first vision, or before he had that all of the creeds of the different denominations were incorrect. He thought it never even entered his mind, is what he said. Be open to those things that come to your mind. Maybe if you hadn't even thought about a mission, you're like, I'm not really interested, but then you kind of start thinking about it, or you feel like you should go. Trust that. Just trust that plan. Like we talked about, it's terrifying and it's very exciting. And we've alluded to and mentioned, our journey into seminary before, but I mean, we were almost 30 when we made that career change. And that was very scary, very terrifying, very exciting. But and I say that because I know I would say the same thing. We wouldn't change a thing about it. It's been an amazing ride, and it's been the blessings that have come from it in so many ways. I could have never predicted, but we had to take that leap of faith first. And then the waters have kind of parted and the light has slowly come through the fog. But we had to take that leap of faith first. And again, not in our plans. And we were well into our careers at that point. And it was a major shift and a major change. And, it's kind of like with a mission or anything. You might have an idea or a feeling you need to move or go to this college or break up with this person that you love or something. Trust it. Just trust it. And the future is pretty cool, even though you can't see it now.
I just thought of something real fast. If I could issue a challenge to people who are listening, who you're not sure if you want to go on a mission, maybe you're not even sure what you believe in. And that's what's holding you back, is that you think, I don't know if I can go out and teach people because I don't know what I know. And that's totally understandable. And good for you for having an honest heart, for wanting to know what you know. So I guess my challenge to you, if listening to this has ignited anything within you, even like a mild curiosity about whether or not serving a mission is the right choice for you, because again, we can't take that away from you. That is your agency. You get to choose what to do with it. We're just merely trying to advocate for, choosing what God wants for you, whatever that may look like.
Yeah.
So if you need a little bit of help, or you're not quite sure what step to take next, here's a challenge for you. Read the Book of Mormon. I think you should dedicate time to reading that every single day, and maybe even set a deadline for when you're going to be done with it. Because I can pretty much promise you that by the end of that book, you'll have a distinct feeling of whether or not you want to go out and share this gospel, the gospel of Jesus Christ, with other people. And I believe that it'll probably tip the scales in that favor if that's what you end up doing. But if nothing else, please just do the work needed to get yourself closer to Jesus Christ, to strengthen your own testimony, because that will ultimately make you a more effective tool in his hands, and you'll be better able to bless everybody that comes across you in your path on a day-to-day basis, not just on a mission. And as Jason said, like, that's the ultimate goal anyway. So start there. Just learn who Jesus is, come to know him. And that's the cool thing, is as you come to know him, then you want to share him with other people.
Yeah. Well, it's beautiful.
So thank you so much for listening to us. We hope that maybe somebody feels inspired to go start some papers today from this, or at least say some prayers or think about this some more. You never know. You never know what God has in store for you. But if you trust him, only good things come from that.
Thanks for listening, guys. We love you so much. And just go for it. Learn him, learn about him, know him, trust him, and just walk with him. You will not regret it. We love you.
Love you.